Okay, so this is Bree. Before I go into our findings, I just want to give a brief background on our data set. So we had over 33,000 pieces of data. We ended up using a small pool of that data, which was 486 pieces of data, to target our market. We did that because we wanted to be familiar with the data, and so basically we took the top 10 most popular photos. From those top 10 popular photos, we took out the tutorial photo because it's prone to error. We took out any pictures which didn't have at least 22 measurements, as group 2 found after below 22 measurements, they weren't able to see a pattern in the scatter plots. We found similar, we had similar findings in our scatter plots. And then we also eliminated any photos that had a standard deviation which was beyond 50 pixels. As we are using JImage, we just found that that standard deviation was a bit high, so we used anything under that. So what we found was, of those 468 pieces of data, 257 met all three of our requirements. Our requirements were: the measurement had to have an angle between 80 and 90 degrees. This was important to the museum and to measurements overall. They also had to have a major axis and a minor axis, which was within an acceptable range, which we found using statistical modeling. We found for our target markets, adults measured most accurately, meeting all three of our requirements 65% of the time. We had 302 measurements for that group. 231 were adults, 71 were kids. 150 out of the 231s were accurate for adults. For affiliations, we found that Drexel and Northeastern University met our requirements most frequently. 66 and 69% of the time, they were accurate. For Drexel, that was 33 out of 50. For Northeastern, that was 25 out of 36. And finally, as far as facilitation goes, we found that facilitation had a positive impact, with 56% of the facilitated group meeting the requirements versus 44% for non-facilitated. Unfortunately, we could not link accuracy and enjoyment for this project. However, we did find some pretty nice correlations between understanding and the feeling that the website had enough information. That was a 0.55 positive correlation. So as one went up, the other went up. Again, with understanding, we found that the more they understood, the more likely they were to do some additional studying on the topic. We found a positive 0.53 correlation with this. Also, for our simple random sample, to answer the question of how well crowdsourcing is working, we found that 78% of the general measurements were accurate, and I'll let Esteban talk about that more. Thanks.